This is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Hello, everyone. I'm Fred Staab, and along with me, as always, is Les Jackson. Les, how you doing?
Very good, Fred. How are things on your mic?
Well, not bad, not bad. But I tell you what, they're not great for certain auto manufacturers, and we're going to go through that. What does it mean? Is it a chance to get good deals? Who knows? But times are not great for Nissan, Stellantis, and Rivian. Plus, what happened to the Fiat 500e? It was the cute electric car. Everyone was supposed to want one. It was so cute. Adopt one and take it home. But That's not what's happening, is it?
Well, apparently the adoption agencies aren't doing their job. We'll talk about it. Bridgestone, on the other hand, does some winter driving in the GR Corolla. It's kind of clever.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever done a winter driving course? I have.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was ice with snow on top of it. And literally, if you you walked out of the car, you had to make sure you didn't slip underneath it. But it's fun stuff.
Yeah, we did some winter driving with metal studded tires on Volvo on a lake in Michigan.
Good stuff. And you got a story about California, right?
Yeah, their speeding law has failed to pass. We'll tell you all about the law and why it didn't pass.
Yeah, and it's technology that used to exist on certain cars, and then it went away, and then they wanted it to come back, but right now it's not going to come back, but it might come back at a federal level. We'll explain it all. Don't worry about it. But also, Toyota delays its three-row EV SUV. They're going to build it in the U.S. Now, they're not so sure where they're going to build it, if they're going to build it.
This is, yes, we'll talk more about big three-row SUVs. And Ford just released its all-new Expedition at the State Fair of Texas. That's that thing with the huge statue of the cowboy.
By the way, it is State Fair of Texas, not Texas State Fair.
Yes, far be it from me, too.
Big Tex.
Anyway, new technology, versatility, capability, and the first ever Expedition Tremor. And Luis Perez, who's the Expedition brand manager, is going to join us a little later. Tell us what we need to know.
Yeah. A pretty exciting rebuild of this vehicle, completely new. Got some cool technology, got a really interesting tailgate. And, hey, this is a popular vehicle for them. Like so many of the SUVs, they have the Tremor, which is more off-road, more for active lifestyle people.
Like us.
Maybe we'll ask Louise, do I have to carry my kayak with me? So, all the times.
Yeah.
Well, hey, who knows? But we do know Cruise Control will be right back, so stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. You're still with your on-air automotive magazine, and Fred and I, well, we're going to start off with some bad news. Nissan is in trouble. It's just that simple. Global sales are down. Investors aren't happy. Management has already slashed a lot of stuff. Not doing well in China. This is we feel bad about that because Nissan's a great company.
Yeah, look at this metric, Les. The average Nissan dealership in the U.S. earned 70% less this year than in the same period last year. That's according to Automotive News. You could just lose your dealer network. They'll just say, like, well, we're just not going to sell Nissans.
Can you blame them?
No, I mean they can't. You can't just say, "Well, hey, times are tough." The problem is they have a lot of old models, and one of the few models I know that they released, which is a good one to release, a compact CUV, is the new Kicks, which they completely redesigned. They made it all-wheel drive, all kinds of things. That's good, but a lot of their models are very old. They have a lot of inventory on hand. And when you look at numbers, like we were just saying, where the average dealer earned 70% less this year than they did at the same time last year, I don't know how they do it. I just don't know how they do it.
Yeah, I mean they're bleeding money, obviously, and even their EV, the Araya SUV, isn't eligible for the purchase tax credit
Yeah.
because it's made in Japan. But on top of that, they're offering leases of like $199 a month.
Well, I mean, in others'
Amazing.
trouble, sometimes, when somebody's in trouble, you can actually get a good deal. Maybe that is a good deal
Well,
for
yes,
that.
yes, of course.
Yeah. So if you are thinking of that vehicle and, kind of make their pain your gain, I hate to say it, but, it would be great. And probably they'd be glad for you to take one off their hands, wouldn't they?
You could certainly strike a deal.
Yeah.
And just this one last little, oh boy, nasty comment or nasty statistic. Their operating profit plunged last quarter by an alarming 99%.
Oh, wow.
That's not good, is it?
No, and car lots are stuffed with 2023 models.
Oh,
After new 2024 models have been released. Once again, is this a place to go for a deal, right? Or do you think
sure.
Nissan will make it?
I hope they do. I just don't want to see brands go away.
I think there's a real business here for brands that could potentially go away, like Fisker and others, for someone to jump in and say, "Don't worry, we'll service them." But
Yeah.
I think you've got to worry about their dealer network. Dealers just switching brands to something that sells. I mean, probably everyone wants to be a Kia Hyundai dealer, I would say, right?
I would think so. And Stellantis and Aston Martin ain't doing so great either.
No, I mean, Stellantis struggle. You look at some of the things that have been happening there. Carlos Tavares has pledged that he will tackle problems in North America and elsewhere. The profits are down. The car maker was created during that merger of 2021 between Fiat Chrysler and PSA Peugeot. So also their profits are way down. They had the wrong inventory. They had too expensive. Yeah, by half. I mean, and then you talk about Rivian. Rivian, of course, we like their vehicles a lot. We like their electric vehicles, and they're really a quality piece, I think. I really am rooting for them to do well. But their sales dropped more than 6%. Their shares dropped more than 6% in midday trading on Friday. And they had to lower their production target from 57,000 units to between 47 and 49,000. And that's due to a supply chain issue. They can't get some parts for their in-house electric motors. So, that's terrible. And that it's hard. I mean, they're a very well-financed company. I believe Amazon put money in there, and they make great products. I actually see a lot of Rivians on the road. Do you see a lot of Rivians?
I was just going to mention, you wouldn't know that there's a problem there around if you drive around here in D.C. A day doesn't go by that I don't see a Rivian or two in the traffic mix. They're just everywhere.
Yeah, I would agree here, too, as they have the distinctive lights, and you can tell them right away.
Yeah, you can't miss it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other thing, too, we're talking about Stellantis, back to Stellantis. Of course, Fiat being part of it. the Fiat 500e, right? It was supposed to be the cute car everyone
Really cute.
wanted, and it's the electric version. Well, we're going to tell you what's happening with the sales of that. And if you thought the numbers were shocking from Nissan and some of the other manufacturers, wait till you hear how many of these things they sold. We'll be right back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Stay tuned. So the question to our streaming audience, would you feel bad buying a Nissan nowadays? That's it. They're struggling. No one's saying they're going out of business, but would you take advantage of some of those $200 a month leases? Les, what do you think?
I would. If that's what I was looking for, sure.
Yeah.
It's a solid company. They're great cars.
I'll give you another, for instance. Do you
Yeah.
think some of these companies will pull out of China, even though it's the biggest market? I mean, that market is being flooded by cheap Chinese vehicles. And, obviously they're not going to have tariffs in China, but probably, Nissan and Stellantis and GM vehicles will, right?
That's right. Plus, you would have, I think, a difficult dealer network to work with in China. I think if I were an executive with Nissan, that I'd want to pull out of China and concentrate my energies in the best markets, the other Asian countries and Europe and here.
Yeah, really, really good information. So, hey, we want to hear what you think. What is going on? Would you buy a Nissan? We'll be right back with more Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. It's so cute. The Fiat 500e, the new electric version of the Fiat 500. This was supposed to be a big hit, and for a little while, it was a big hit for Stellantis. It's one of the very few vehicles that Fiat sells less. But in the U.S., in the first 6 months of this year, guess how many they sold in the U.S. for the first 6 months?
Well, I don't think very many. I know how many, but it's hard to believe.
It's
it
hard to
actually is
believe.
hard to believe.
Yeah. All right. So let's reveal it to our audience. For
Yep.
the first 6 months, they sold 204.
That is a terrifying number. If you're in the auto business, the auto sales business, unless you're selling Ferraris, 204 units will not even keep the lights running at your dealership.
Let me give you just some numbers. So Toyota sells in the U.S. over 800 Camrys a day. A day. That is a day.
A day. Yeah.
Yes. And even more RAV4s. I believe the number is close to 1,000 RAV4s a day.
Yeah, again, everybody buys them.
It must be the easiest job in the world to sell them. You got
It's
a
gotta
RAV4? Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll buy it.
That's right. Let me explain.
No, you don't need to explain anything. Here's my credit card. The shape of it all is this is a cute vehicle. Very cute. Be fun to go around town in it. But it's only got 160 miles of range. I believe the pricing on it is like $36,000, although they're doing all kinds of deals that could knock about a third of that off the price. And it makes, once again, kind of what we were doing on the last act of this show. Would you buy one? Because it's cheap. But, I mean, the range is a killer, really. It's short range. But it is cute, and if you had a short commute each week or you just needed a car to move around town in, it could be fun, couldn't it?
Well, it could be. If you needed, like if we, here at our townhouse, if we needed a second little runabout,
Yeah.
It makes sense. Just plug it in the garage.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. There was talk they were going to make this a hybrid, bring back a gas engine to it, and I believe that will happen. But they need to bump that range up. That range to me I remember when these vehicles came out, electric vehicles started coming out, I drove a Kia Soul EV, and it had a range like that, and I was constantly looking at the at the gauge, even around town. So, but that was 10 years ago, I think. Maybe
I
it was.
remember getting a Mitsubishi My EV,
Oh, I had one of those.
and it range was, I think, 87 miles.
Yeah.
And
I gotta admit that was terrible. That was a terrible. It was
it
like
was
a golf
pretty
cart.
bad.
It was a
was
golf
pretty
cart.
bad.
Yeah, yeah. So
And it didn't go very far either. I was constantly staring at the range
me too.
meter. It just not enough.
Hey, let's talk about what Bridgestone is doing. Bridgestone's got a winter driving school. I did one of these. A while back with Michelin up in Quebec, and it was a lot of fun. It was literally ice, and with ice with snow over it. I always felt like I was going to fall over every time I got out of the car. But they are doing something fun with the GR Corolla. They have brought that into their winter driving fleet, which that would be a fun car, I would say, to go winter driving with. It has Blizzaks. They're mounting up Blizzaks on them, and they're going to have both manual and automatic GR Corollas. As we told you last week, GR Corolla is going to have an automatic transmission option. This looks like a lot of fun, doesn't it?
Well, it does. I mean, I've done this before, and it's a great way to learn some basic racing techniques because you have what essentially is a squirrely handling vehicle,
That's right.
and it teaches you how to be delicate and smooth and understand the physics of what's going on. People should, you know, this is a great Christmas present to give somebody.
This is held in Steamboat Springs too, so when you're off on
Which,
your
in and of
ski
itself,
outing, yeah,
yes, it's my favorite. Yeah, my favorite ski area.
yeah. So they also have other vehicles in this class too. They have Forerunners, they have Camrys, all-wheel drive Camrys. So it seems like a fun thing, but I mean, you could, if they let you get this thing sideways, probably it would be fun in the snow. Good-looking little pocket rocket, though, isn't it?
And I'll bet if we were driving it, I could make it fly.
As you have done so in the past. Yeah,
That's
so,
right. But you still come along.
I do. I
confidence.
just bring my safety gear. Safety gear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you bring a surgeon with you, which is
In case of body parts
pretty
need
smart.
to be reattached.
Right.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Another bit of news today. Toyota has delayed its planned EV production in the U.S. They were going to build their 3-row EV, large EV, and CarBuzz reported that Toyota was cutting back on its EV production targets by 33% over the next 2 years. They might come back and build this later on. Some have said, well, they're just moving it to 2026, basically by a few months. It's going to be built in their Georgetown, Kentucky plant, which they've invested about $2.7 billion between the two of them in Princeton, Indiana, and Georgetown, Kentucky. But they're putting that on hold a little bit, which is interesting. It may not be a big hold, but I'm sure with GM bringing out their 3-row EVs in the form of Cadillac, I'm sure Toyota won't be that far behind. And, of course, a Lexus 3-row SUV, electric EV, will follow. But right now they're talking about building that in Japan, which means they won't be eligible for that $7,500.
I guess my gut feeling is the market for big three-row SUV, electric SUVs that large?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
I
if anyone has the answer to that. I think there's very few
I
of them
just
out
don't
there.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't see it.
Of course, Cadillac is bringing out theirs, and some other people are bringing them out, but we'll have to see. But
Yeah.
coming up next, we will talk about a vehicle that is very popular and just has been completely reimagined, and that is the Ford Expedition. It's got some pretty trick stuff on it, so much trick stuff that we have Luis Perez, who is the Expedition brand manager, who will be joining us after the break, and he's going to tell us all about what's going on with this. Of course, they had their big reveal. They had a reveal with drones that made all different shapes. I believe they even had big techs up in the sky, so we can we'll ask him a little bit about that. I don't know how much
cool.
he knows about drones, but those drones, but he knows a lot about the Expedition. So that is going to be coming up after the break. And they also brought out the new Tremor version of this for active lifestylers like you and me, Les. That's
Just like you and me, with the kayaks and the canoes and
That's
the
right. That's
mountain
right.
bikes.
Yeah, I'll have to tell Louise how if I go for a costume in Halloween, I'll go as an active lifestyle person. I'll walk in with a kayak under my arm to the park. The true sign, the true sign of a active lifestyle person. So
absolutely.
Louise will join us when we come back. So stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. And we're joined by Luis Perez, who is the brand manager for Ford Expedition, who had quite the big week. He was hanging out with big techs at the we can't call it the Texas State Fair. It's the State Fair of Texas. That's what I learned, Luis. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm not sure the rules around that, but that's what it's called. And we had a great time this week revealing the 2025 all-new Ford Expedition.
Yeah. Now, what an important vehicle for Ford. And, I mean, we were just talking about three-row EV, SUVs being delayed. But this is an important vehicle for Ford, and it's something that not only, this is not a light redesign. This is basically reimagined, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Our all-new 2025 Ford Expedition. We want to put active families first. We've redesigned it front to back, top to bottom, inside and out, with new technology, versatility, and capability. And as you guys already mentioned, our first ever Expedition Tremor, which is our most off-road capable Expedition ever.
Yeah.
It's our flagship SUV and definitely an important redesign for us.
Well, where do we begin when we talk about some of the new features of the new Ford Expedition? I mean, I'll start in a weird place, but it's a kind of a big thing, the tailgate, right?
Yes, we have a new Ford split gate. So it opens, as you might expect an SUV to have an upper gate, but also a lower gate like you might see on a pickup truck. And what that does is it gives our customers just a lot more choice and flexibility for how to load and unload their cargo, and in particular, it comes in really handy to prevent any loose items from inadvertently rolling out of the back of the vehicle.
Yeah, I've had that happen, Les. Where I live, it's the driveway is a little bit on an angle, and if you go shopping and you open the hatch, sometimes your avocados run down the driveway, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So, so was that the idea behind it, Louise? To it's kind of not only an active lifestyle thing, but that's like an everyday lifestyle thing to make sure things don't fall out the back.
Well, Fundamentally, we set out in our research to really understand what do these customers need from their vehicles. And I'll start with our functional needs and benefits. So, you know, absolutely the customers need a lot of versatility in how they load their people and how they load their cargo and their things. And so the Ford Splitgate, it actually has multiple use cases. So what we just talked about is mostly versatility. And we talk about our one car wonder, right? We want Expedition to be a one car wonder. So the Splitgate allows the cargo flexibility. We also have a new third row flexible seat that allows the seats to fold down independently so that, again, you have more choice in how you load your people and your things, including a new long center aisle that goes between the second and third row if you put the middle seats down, which gives you a perfect place to put things like skis or fishing rods or 2x4s. And then in the first row, we have a flex-powered console that slides to the rear and gives you a great place to put a handbag or a purse. And so that versatility needs of our customers, really just giving them a way to create the perfect setup for the perfect journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about the Tremor. Of course, the Tremor, that model or that designator's been around in the Ford lineup for some other models. But it seems like this is such a trend in all CUVs and SUVs to get that more of an off-road look, a little bit more aggressive tires. And what does that mean when we talk about the new Expedition?
So absolutely, there's definitely a trend toward off-roading in this segment and in others, as you mentioned. And in our research, we actually discovered that Expedition customers in particular go off-roading more, tow more, go camping more than some of the owners of some of the competitive set. And, Expedition has always been a very capable off-roader. And in fact, today we have our Timberline. But the Tremor takes that to the next level. We are incorporating the success we've seen with the Tremor brand in our truck portfolio. And we definitely wanted this Expedition to live up to that Tremor brand equity. And so absolutely, we have 33-inch off-road tires shared with the F-150 Tremor. It's got electronic rear locking differential, trail one pedal drive, rock crawl mode, trail turn assist, all sorts of features that essentially, if you're the kind of family whose adventure begins where the pavement ends, this is the Expedition for you, and you can have all the confidence that you can get to where you're going, no problems.
With I had read before that you had spent well over 1,000 hours in interviewing, I guess, focus groups and that sort of people. What do you want in a large SUV? The tailgate makes sense. I'm sure a lot of people said, "Well, I want a tailgate that'll do a whole bunch of things." Were there any other surprises that you got that kind of said, "Gee, we can do that. We never thought of it." No, not unrealistic desires, but
I'll say this. Mostly when we go to research, we focus on the customer's functional needs and pain points. And so that's where, the split gate might be a good solution for, loading and unloading cargo. But we realize that Expedition is a bit of a challenger brand in this segment. And meeting their functional needs is not enough really to capture their attention. So in the research, we also really strove to learn ways in which we might connect with them emotionally, really paying attention to not only their functional needs, but what are their beliefs? What are their fears and motivations and these kind of things? And what we learned is that these customers are incredibly family focused. They want to be present for the people and the moments that matter in their lives, that they're tired of missing out on things. And so we have, other experiences. We have a Better Together experience, which is all about creating enjoyable journeys along the way. But I'll come back to the Ford Splitgate because it also plays a crucial role in an experience we're calling Linger Longer, where once you've reached your destination, you can deploy the Ford Splitgate in combination with our available cargo tailgate manager, and all of a sudden it becomes the perfect place from which to tailgate. You can host a tailgate. You can deploy the cargo tailgate manager as a shelf or a table, so you can have snacks or food around the vehicle, and also you can deploy it over as a bench, a seat back, so that you can use the lower gate as a seat to watch your kid's soccer game or football game or whatever it is that might be going on. And then we also have 360-degree zone lighting. We've made it even better on the 25 Expedition with roof rail embedded lights. And it's not necessarily about any individual feature, although they are very cool. It's more about that experience of, hey, even after the sun goes down, that doesn't mean your party has to end. You can keep the family gathering going, well into the evening, or, if you're the morning family, you can get up before the sun comes up.
Pretty cool. I mean,
Cool.
is the idea that people would camp in their Expedition, Luis?
Yeah, as I said, Expedition customers already camp more than do some of the owners of the competitive vehicles. And, we're not trying to necessarily change anyone's behavior. What we want to do is see how are they already using their vehicle and how can we make that better. And we think that the 2025 Expedition really does that in every way possible, both in terms of that versatility that we talked about, but also in terms of amplifying and enriching those everyday moments when you're out there just hanging out with your family at the campsite, whether it's setting up the tent or enjoying some quiet time, watching the stars or whatever it may be. It's easy to think about this vehicle as sort of a tool to just do the jobs that you need it to do, but really we want Expedition to be more of a partner, more of a guide, really to inspire you to live the life that you really aspire to lead. And when we can inspire our customers to get out there and live the way that they know they want to live, then we're confident we have a really unique and compelling offering, unlike anything they've ever seen from us before.
All right. Well, we're listening to Luis Perez talk about the Ford Expedition, brand new vehicle that was just revealed at the State Fair of Texas. Luis will join us after the break, so stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson, and we're joined by Luis Perez, who is the Ford Expedition brand manager, who had a busy week down in Texas. A lot to talk about, Luis, and we were talking a little bit about the Tremor. One thing we wanted to get to, of course, Tremor is your beefier version, kind of more active lifestyle. We always joke about that here on Cruise Control. Active lifestyle means you carry a kayak around with you under your arm to show you're an active lifestyler. But our audience is interested in a lot of the tech behind it and, of course, the powertrain. So there are two different powertrains available in the new Ford Expedition, right?
Yes. So the Expedition comes standard with a 3.5-liter V6 engine that has up to 400 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. And then we have our high-output engine, which can deliver up to 440 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. And that comes standard on the Tremor, and it's available in the Platinum Series in the Stealth Performance package as well as the Ultimate package.
Wow. Okay. So pretty big difference there. Pretty important. Now, towing wise, what are we looking at for the Expedition? Because this is a vehicle that is perfectly suited for towing with that long wheelbase, and that's what a lot of people are going to tow. What they're going to use it for.
Absolutely. Expedition's always been a great towing partner, and we've made that even better with the 2025 Expedition. Not only in terms of absolute capability, but also in terms of how easy we make it to tow. So the one thing we've done is we've increased the towing capacity that you can tow without a weight distribution hitch. So now that number is 7,000 pounds. So if your cargo is lower than that, then you don't have to fuss around with any other setup. You can just hook it right up and go. And then total towing capability has increased to 9,600 pounds.
That's
and then go ahead.
no, that is pretty amazing. I mean, 9,600 pounds. You're looking at a pretty substantial travel trailer or a large boat without a problem.
Or another Expedition and a couple. Motorcycles.
Yeah, buy two.
And-
it's better.
And what's even more important is the Pro Trailer Hitch Assist, which makes connecting the trailer look like you're really good at it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Perfect for those boat ramp episodes.
That's
yes.
right.
No, thank you. That's exactly where I was going. Is the technology complements that raw capability. So the Pro Trailer Hitch Assist will help you first of all get the trailer on. Then we have Pro Trailer Backup Assist. So as you said, you look like a pro out there at the boat ramp when you're dropping the boat or picking it up. And then when you're on the road, trailer sway control will help you, stay in your lane and as well as change lanes, in a way that keeps your trailer in control with you.
Yeah, Ford trucks making you look like you know what you're doing. That's for sure.
Yeah, which I much prefer to doing it like I don't know what I'm doing.
You can
which
weave
is-
any
which is
story. Hey, I've been on, I had my CDL for years. That's why I'm so good at it, And then meanwhile, it's all the tech that is built into your.
That's right. It's all the electronic.
Yeah, that's right. Because in most cases, no one's really pushing these vehicles to the max capacity, but it's really about inspiring confidence that whatever they're towing, Expedition is the right tool for the job. You'll be able to do it, no problem.
Well, we should also talk. We talked some big numbers here on the engine and towing, but we should also talk about the interior. This is a very unique interior. I don't think I've seen a dashboard like this. You have an oval steering wheel and a ton of displays. Tell us a little bit about what's going on inside.
Yes, thank you. So we'll start. This is all part of our Better Together experience, in which we want to facilitate enjoyable journeys for all the passengers, as well as keep everyone connected and entertained through new technology that is intuitive but also inspires confidence. Just like the towing that we talked about. So starting with our 24-inch panoramic display, which sits above and behind the steering wheel. And what that does is it brings all of the driver's tools right up to the horizon to help keep your eyes out and up on the road. And that steering wheel shape is purposefully designed to maximize your visibility of that 24-inch display, as well as to give you a little bit more leg room between the steering wheel and your legs. Then we move over to the 13.2-inch center touchscreen display. That houses our Ford digital experience, which essentially keeps you connected to all of your favorite, apps and content that you're already engaging with every day. You have your native Google Play Store, Google Maps for navigation, and every Expedition will come with 1 year included of the Ford connectivity package, which will power that Ford digital experience so that you don't need to connect your phone if you don't want to, though we still retain Android Auto and Apple CarPlay support,
which
if you choose to engage that way.
Which is a big thing that people really want. And I know your CEO said we're going to keep that in our vehicles, unlike some other brands. But Les, you had a question. This is maybe not a huge feature, but it's a very useful feature.
It's one of those, it's one of those irritations, and that is, you've got a cell phone or a laptop, and you're on it. I've been on 2 very long trips in the last 8 weeks. And there's no place to put it. You don't want it near the cup holders because you have cups in there, and you don't want to lay it on your lap or throw it on the floor. So you guys have come up with an actual thing that, again, why didn't somebody think of this sooner? Where you don't have to, put it on the windshield with a suction cup. You've actually got something that'll clip onto these things, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'll get there in just a minute. I want to round out for our driver and our first row passenger. That better together experience also includes Ford Blue Cruise, and we've expanded the availability down on most series so that more customers get to experience stress-free, hands-free highway driving.
And Louise,
so that's the first row. Oh. Yes,
Louise, just a question on Blue Cruise. We did a story last week. There was an upgrade, and it's basically making it smoother, transitions smoother, and making the end result is people will be able to stay in the Blue Cruise mode for longer. Is that included with this new Expedition? It's like a software version. I forget what software version it is, but.
Yes, that's right. Expedition will get the latest version of Blue Cruise. So not only does it have that hands-free highway driving capability, but as you mentioned, it keeps you connected much better and much longer. Absolutely. And then, as you guys were just talking about, for our second row passengers, we do have a new digital device holder, which allows you to, as you mentioned, bring a tablet or a smartphone or a gaming device and just plug it right into the back of the headrest. There's USB outlets nearby, so you can keep all your devices charged. And with the connectivity package, you can even keep your devices connected so that you can keep streaming whatever your favorite content is all the time, no compromises, and just take it with you on the journey.
So is the idea, instead of putting in one of those big rear seat entertainment systems that they used to that were complex, it's just easier. People have their devices, so you can just attach it to the back and have a way to power it, and that's probably even better.
Again, it's all about giving the customers choice. So we will have the rear seat entertainment available for those customers that choose that option. But if you don't, then you'll have the digital device holder so that you can bring your own devices, plug them into the vehicle.
All right. Well, Luis Perez, we really appreciate you taking us through the brand new Ford Expedition. Time for me to say, I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you. I just love the sound. Down the road.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.